Hey Divi creators, thanks for stopping by our documentation for the Divi blog module, one of the most used modules within Divi. The blog module will display any content that uses WordPress post type functionality, blog posts of course, but also pages, projects, and more, even custom post types. It can also be used to create search results, related post sections, or a blog archive page within the theme builder. In today's video, we're going to walk through what the blog module is, how to use it, and how to style it. Let's dive in. Here we are on our website's blog page. Let's start by enabling the visual builder. Then we'll open up the blog module settings. Module settings are always organized into three broad categories: content, design, and advanced. Within each tab, settings are further sorted into groups, which can be collapsed or expanded with ease. Many of these settings are available in all or most of Divi's modules and have their own separate detailed documentation. So in this video, we'll stick to settings or settings groups that are unique to the blog module. The first settings group of note under the Content tab is also called Content. This settings group is mostly concerned with which content we want the module to display. You can use the blog module to display any content that utilizes a WordPress post type. This, of course, includes blog posts, but also pages, media, projects, and more. Post count refers to the number of posts you'd like displayed at one time. If you have a total of 30 blog posts published, but only want 6 displayed per results page, then you can set the post count to 6. After the 6th post in the feed, a pagination link will appear at the bottom of the blog module. Included categories. This is where you can specify the blog categories you would like to be displayed within the blog module's post feed. By default, all categories are displayed. However, the ability to select just one or a combination of categories is extremely useful, making it possible to create complex editorial layouts consisting of multiple blog modules, or to use a single blog module to place a few pieces of supporting content on a non-blog page. Our next setting is date format. This is where you can change how the date displays within the post meta text. M equals month, J equals date or day, and Y equals year. This month, day, year format and order is common in the United States, but you may prefer something different. If you have trouble reordering these letters to get the date format you want, see our written documentation for more detailed guidance. Our next setting is content length. This dropdown allows you to choose whether or not you want to show the entire post content or just show an excerpt. In our example, and in most cases, show excerpt is the better design choice, but it's important to know there are 2 potential sources for Divi to pull excerpt content from. Our next setting allows us to choose which source we want to display. Use post excerpts. By default, this setting is toggled to yes, indicating that the module is pulling the excerpt content from the respective blog post excerpt meta box. When this setting is toggled to no, an excerpt will be automatically generated based on the first characters in a post's body. Next, we have excerpt length. By default, excerpts are 270 characters in length. If you want to lengthen or shorten them, type your preferred value here. Finally, post offset number. This number determines how many posts the module should skip when displaying the post feed. If I type 1 here, the most recent post is skipped, and the first post that is displayed is actually the second most recent blog post in the feed. The Elements setting group allows you to show or hide a number of elements associated with the content type you're displaying. In the case of blog posts, we've got the following options. Show featured image. Toggle this to yes or no to show or hide the featured image. Show read more button. Toggle this to yes or no to show or hide the read more button, and so on through author, date, categories, comment count, excerpt, and pagination. Now let's dive into the Design tab. The first setting of note is layout. The options are full width or grid. Next up is overlay. This settings group is only relevant if you would like to apply an overlay effect to the featured image on hover. If so, then toggle this option to on, triggering the other overlay options to appear and a default overlay effect to be added to the featured images. Under Overlay Icon Color, you can choose your preferred icon color. If you don't want the icon to appear at all, set the icon to be transparent by clicking the Transparent Color option. Under Overlay Background Color, you can choose the color of the image overlay. If you choose to keep your icon visible, Overlay Icon is where you can select the one you'd like to display. The next settings group is Image. This is where you can style the featured image. You can round the image corners, add and style an image border, add an image box shadow, adjust image hue, saturation, brightness, contrast, and more, including 16 blend modes. The next settings group is Text. This sets the overall text styles for this module, like text alignment. You can set specific text styles in the settings for title text, body text, meta text, read more text, and pagination text. Each of these elements have the same set of text design options. Let's quickly go through them. First up, we have font, font weight, font style, text alignment, text color, and text size. These are all fairly standard settings that most users understand intuitively. If not, we cover every setting in detail in our written documentation. What you may be less familiar with are the next two settings, letter spacing and line height. Letter spacing allows you to set the space between letters in the text. The higher the number, the more space between letters. Line height, on the other hand, allows you to set the space allotted to each line of text. The higher the number, the more space between lines. The remaining settings groups are common among all or most Divi modules: sizing, spacing, border, box shadow, filters, transform, and animation. So we won't linger on each of those settings here. However, there are a few ways in which these settings are applied uniquely to the blog module. The settings under sizing, spacing, filters, and animation affect the entire module container. For example, if you change the width or alignment under sizing, the entire module's width or alignment will be altered. On the other hand, the border and box shadow settings groups apply their settings to the individual posts within the blog module. As you can see when we apply a simple line border and box shadow to our demo. Finally, let's take a look at the Advanced Settings tab for the blog module. CSS ID and classes, as well as the custom CSS group, allow you to quickly and easily apply your own unique CSS styles to the exact elements you want them assigned to, such as the main element or the whole module, the post title, body, post meta, and so on. The other settings groups here, conditions, visibility, transitions, position, and scroll effects, all give you powerful and granular control over how and when this module is displayed. However, since these groups are common in all or most of Divi's modules, they have their own separate documentation. You can also visit the blog module's written documentation for more details. And since that brings us to the end of our blog module settings, I'll click the green check button to save our edits, then exit the Visual Builder to view our new blog page. And that's it for our blog module demonstration. Before you go, make sure to check out all of the design tips and tricks we have for the blog module over on the Elegant Themes blog, which is linked in the video description. And don't forget to check out the rest of our documentation at elegantthemes.com/documentation so you can be on your way to mastering Divi.